praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this beautiful day of Friday. We seek His guidance and blessings and mercy. We seek His light so we can see better and can be in this existence enlightened all the time by His mercy and His guidance. Ameen. We bear witness that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah, and we bear witness that Muhammad is His servant and messenger. Today, December 6th, is a Friday, but also it happened to be the National Day on action and condemnation and action on domestic violence. So all of us, as part of the White Ribbon Campaign and part of the Muslim contribution, we're dedicating khutbas to this issue of domestic violence, which is real. And Islam has vehemently spoken against violence in general and domestic violence, because domestic violence damages both the abuser and the abused, the one who acts and the one who is the victim of the act. And that's why Rasulullah in a very brief, concise manner, Rasulullah said, لا يفعله خياركم. Only the lowlifes amongst you who do it. Meaning you have to be asfal as-safilin. A person who fails at communicating, at using this quality that Allah has given human beings to express. It's called an-nutq, to be able to talk and say and express when he or she become angry. And I say he or she because there is wife abuse and husband abuse. There are women being, beaten and of course victims of violence, but there are also men are also being beaten by wives. It's a reality. But unfortunately, something that we have to condemn all the time, even if Islam talked strongly against it, unfortunately it's there. There are families and children traumatized because of domestic violence. Rasul said about a man who used to beat his wife. His name was Muawiyah. Not Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, another Muawiyah. He said, فَأَمَّا مُعَاوِيَةٌ فَإِنَّهُ صَعْلُوكٌ لَا يَضَعُ الْعَصَى عَنْ عَاتِقِهِ. As for Muawiyah, he is what we call in English rascal, a lowlife, who never puts down the stick from above his shoulder. Rasul described him with this image of a man having a stick or a staff like this on his shoulder as he becomes the symbol of domestic violence against his wife. Rasul condemned that, and he said, shame on you, those of you who beat your wives, and then next thing you want to kiss them and sleep with them. Shame on you, you are trying to do. Islam condemned this, and Islam told us to treat women the best way. And of course, women treat their husbands the best way. خيركم لأهلي وأنا خيركم لأهلي. The best amongst you are those who are good and kind to their wives, to their families. Just keep in mind, violence against women, against children is very bad. It's something that sticks in the mind of the person who's violated, who is being, abused all his or her life. I'll just tell you a story. There was this man washing his car. He was washing his car, and while he was washing his car, he saw his son, who was around 4 or 5 years old, still not mature enough to understand his actions. And he was actually scratching the car with something. So he was so angry at him. This is the car of the family. This is the car, and he's washing it. I'm not the person who washes the car all the time, tell you the truth. I go to the station and plug the thing and wash it. Don't have time. Go on those days you can wash your car. No time even for eating, let alone washing the car. But this shows you how much passion and love he had for his car. And while washing his car, he saw his son scratching the car with something, some metal in his hand. He angrily took his son and started beating him. But he didn't realize that he was beating the hands of his son with a wrench, to the point he damaged his fingers and he was bleeding. He took him to the hospital. Now he's coming down. He realizes that he has done a grievous mistake, a big mistake. His son was admitted in the hospital with, of course, broken fingers, damaged little son who didn't know what he did. Until this point, the son didn't know what he did. And of course, he went home. He said, I will break that car. What did I do? He went home actually and he started hitting the car, and then all of a sudden he realized that what his son was trying to write on the car was, I love you, Dad. See, when we're angry, we're blind. When we're angry, we become low. And domestic violence is one of the things that unfortunately that stay in the mind. You think that child will never forget that violence of his father? If someone beats his children, oh, I do it out of love, but you don't damage people. Even the Prophet ﷺ said, رُفِعَ الْقَلَمُ عَنْ ثَلَاثٍ. The pen is lifted, does not write the deeds of 3 people. عَنِ الْمَجْنُونِ حَتَّى يَعْقِلْ. The person who does not know his actions, someone who's mentally ill until he becomes sane, someone who's insane, Allah does not hold him responsible. وَعَنِ النَّائِمْ حَتَّى يَسْتَيْقِظ. And someone who's sleeping until he wakes up. If he does any action while sleeping, Allah does not hold him responsible. وَعَنِ الصَّبِيِّ حَتَّى يَحْتَلِمْ. And the child until he reaches the age of puberty. Or even sin al-hulm is like, it's older. That's a child. Children make mistakes. You become angry. You do something. We all become angry. But Islam says, control your anger. When the man asked the Prophet ﷺ, Oh Rasulullah, give me an advice. The Prophet ﷺ said, لا تغضب. We translate it as don't be angry. But actually it is control your anger. We all become angry. Rasulullah ﷺ was angry more than once. But how did he? Did he suppress his anger and direct it in a very positive manner? Anger is not bad. But where it's bad, when it controls you, it becomes destructive to you and the people around you. And that's why we have to remind ourselves, as Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِّنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ. Those who are conscious of Allah, when shaitan, ta'if, from tawaf, goes around. Because Rasulullah says, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَجْرِي فِي ابْنِ آدَمَ مَجْرَى الدَّمِ فِي الْعُرُوقِ. Shaitan goes in the veins of a person like the blood does. So he will come when you are angry. When the hormones of energy, adrenaline and noradrenaline, they are released by the brain, because the brain wants now more oxygen, more blood. So the heart, in order for the heart to send more blood to the brain, it needs oxygen. So the brain sends a message to the lungs, I need you to breathe faster, I need more oxygen, more oxygen. That's why when you're angry, high blood pressure, and of course high heart rate, and high secretion and release of these hormones of energy. And of course, your left hemisphere, the left hemisphere of the brain becomes stimulated. And of course, what happens? Emotion overpowers reason, and you don't know what you're doing. That's why when you're angry and you hit something and you start bleeding, you don't realize that you're bleeding. Later say, oh, I'm bleeding, because you're angry. Everything is concentrated here. And Islam says, either express your anger, talk about it. Don't let it eat you. Or suppress it if you have the power. As Allah says, وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ. Those who are able to restrain their anger. Or calm down. Because when you calm down with dhikrullah, ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'inul qulub, you can, inshallah, avoid all of these things. Most of domestic violence starts with a mild irritation. And that's what anger is. It starts with mild irritation up to rage and fury. What is anger? Starts from mild irritation. Then you hit this. The problem, if you're not in control, instead of hitting the table, you hit somebody's nose. But that's why when you lose control, that's what Rasul said, La talaqa fi ighlaq. You know, people, they come to me and say, Imam, I divorced my wife 3 times. Good for you. That's it, done. But I was angry. I say, when were you, when do people divorce their wives? When they're happy? That's why you need to control yourself. That's it. If anybody says talaq 3 times, that's it. Allah hafiz. Chalo. Bye. Finish. If you stay in that marriage, zina. That's haram. You'll be cursed every day. That's it. Once, Allah forgives. Twice, Allah forgives. Third, he says, at-talaqu marratan. Don't play with this. At-talaqu marratan. فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Talaq is only twice. Oh no, but you know, I was angry. No, people become, subhanAllah, experts in the fiqh of divorce. Many families are married, they're together, but they're actually, in the eyes of Allah, nikah is lifted. And why did you get to that? Why would you say talaq? I was angry. Why did you program your head to say? Because you put in your head the word talaq. If you have a good marriage, you should never even think of divorce. When you marry for life. But the fact that divorce has come out, either a man says it or a woman says, okay, give me divorce. Both of them are on the edge, why we call marriage on the edge. Shouldn't be conscious of talaq. Because you will be, what happens? Once you're angry, you'll overspill. What do you overspill? What's on the top? What's on the top? Talaq. So be careful. And I was angry. Allah, do you think people divorce when they're happy? So be careful. A lot of marriages are destroyed. And this person, Rasulullah said, shame on you. You beat them and the next thing you kiss them and sleep with them. How dare you do that? Where is common sense? So be conscious. And that's why 3 things. Express your anger, talk about it. Or suppress it if you can. And this is Allah says that. And 3, be calm with dhikrullah. And inshallah you can refer to our videos on YouTube. You can see next week. We'll post inshallah all of these. And we have anger management videos. We have all of this, how you can manage your anger. Allahumma arhamna ya Rabbil Alameen. Na'udu billahi min al-ghadab. Allahumma waffiqna ya Rabbil Alameen. Warzuqna min al-ladina. اجعلنا من الذين يمتلكون أنفسهم عند الغضب. آمين. نعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.